Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, I want to talk about the DPS heroes that you can use for the Chaos Shadows in the Otherworld Exploration, or even for the Continental Challenge, you know, that starts before, for those chief challenges. I saw that quite a few of you liked the previous video that I did on kind of like the same subject when I was talking about what are the best poison DPS you can use. So I said, you know what, let me make a video on this one so I could give you guys an idea or like an overlook about what heroes you could use, what are the best ones and whatnot. So obviously this is going to be mostly about lightning damage, and those are going to be the people that you use against the Errich boss. So as always, the first thing you need to understand are the boss's skills and mechanics. So he has two battle skills. He only has one, but he uses it twice during the fight. That has like a 3x3 square, and then the ultimate, that is, I think it covers the same thing. Yep, your ultimate, same thing, it only covers 3x3. So depending how you place them, you can take advantage of that. I will show you quickly the two teams that I actually have. This is number one, when I'm actually using some rares and some epics plus Mithrage as my healer, but obviously this one could be maybe somebody like a Quarian or something else. And then the second team was this one that, well, it's basically the team that I made a video on earlier that uses no legendaries or any legendary artifact. Obviously, I'm going to change it for my use and I'm going to put the Witch's Remains on her. But you see a rough idea of how this one looks. It's basically 2 melee units or 1 melee unit, and then everything else is AoE. Because the way you're going to want to have it is you're going to want to have 2 melee units that go in front and, you know, soak up the boss's damage, or 1 melee unit and maybe somebody that's a healer that you can build tanky to be in the same square, so they always soak up the damage, and then 2 more to the side and 1 to the other side, so that the boss cannot attack more than 2 people at a time. So because of that, let's have a look at what DPS there are available and which are going to be good ones. And honestly, in this case, you might even want to try and use some melee DPS, but you might have to build them tankier. So when it comes to the commons, honestly, there's nothing too impressive to talk about. So we're just going to move on to the next ones, to the rares. One of the ones that can be interesting is Altair, because he has a triple hit on the ultimate that can also do extra damage if you have more attack speed. And most of the time, Dauntless heroes, they rely on lots of attack speeds to do more damage. On the battle skill as well, like for 8 seconds after he casts it, he does extra damage with basic skills. So most of the time, again, Dauntless rely on the basic skills. So the fact that he gets enhanced damage is going to be helpful for him. This one I don't think is going to count, because I think the bosses count as like full HP. So his passive is not going to proc, but still he can be good as an option for DPS. Then the next one's going to be Haug, but I think he's a melee unit and he's not tanky enough. I've not looked at him. Actually, let's see, Lightning Spear. So maybe he's not actually a melee unit, but I don't think he brings enough. Like, okay, he brings some good damage with defense with ignoring defense and gaining attack speed up. The battle skill is on 8 seconds full recharge time. It's, you know, could be helpful. And then the passive gains attack up when enemy dies, but this is not going to happen. And then the aura is only in dungeons, so he's not going to be one of the good ones. Yagnats, however, I have used in one of the teams, as you noticed, and the reason why he's so good is because he throws 3 javelins on this one that can do some decent damage, but they count as basic attack, which means he can enable some other Dauntless heroes such as Shalter and Evelios. I'm going to talk about them later, obviously. So he's one of the good ones. Then on the battle skill, again, he does some decent damage, and both of them are really low cooldown. So because he's on a 16-second complete recharge, doing 3 hits, they count as a battle skill, plus very low attack interval. He's really amazing to enable some other people. And then also every third basic attack deals more damage and gives him attack speed up. So Yagnats is actually one of the best ones when it comes to the rares. Then if you move over to, I think, Fizzle, he's not going to be as good because he has this bouncing attack, so you're basically not going to get as much damage. He just does, like, you know, skills off of attack and defense. He's a bit of a quirky one, but it's a low version of the attack penalty. Maybe you could try and take advantage of this, but I'm not sure he has enough to bring in his kit to be worth as a damage dealer, because, you know, even though he supports, sometimes they might be good damage dealers, but, well, Fizzle is not one of the good ones. Again, I'm not going to talk about Dora, same principle. She's kind of like meh, just brings accuracy bonus that you don't really care about for the fights. Grover, again, he's a quirky one, he's a melee one, but I'm not sure he's tanky enough. Brings double hit on this one, but you have no buffs to remove. Double hit on this one, but low chance to steal the ultimate energy. And then I guess he has some inbuilt survivability that could be interesting in the accuracy, but I'm not sure I would build him, especially because, again, he's not Dauntless. You're gonna want to have people that are Dauntless as DPS. That's all you care about. Like other people like this, see, for example, Emerald could be an interesting one, but again, he just does single hit on the ultimate, then another single hit, actually it's not even a hit, he just gains attack up on the battle skill, and then he just has a passive that works at the beginning of the fight, and he just does not bring enough. And I guess would be worth mentioning because she's not Dauntless, but she brings good damage, and she brings you the big version of attack penalty, so definitely Anna would be one of those ones that you would want to think about. And then again, this battle skill is only going to hit once because it cannot bounce, so she can be useful, and also she brings some survivability because of her passive. So Irina, not Anna, did I say Anna? Irina is definitely one worth talking about. Then we have Vanny, which she's a bit quirky one. She's more of an enabler because what she does on the ultimate is she gives attack speed up to all Dauntless allies. Again, keep in mind, it's only Dauntless. So people like Arena, people like Fizzle that I talked about, they will not gain this one. So she could be good as a Dauntless enabler in there because she brings this. Then she also gives attack up to herself and deals some decent damage. And then on the battle skill, every third basic attack will deal additional damage. So she's not top tier, but she would be more of a support towards your Dauntless people because of this attack speed up. So keep in mind Vanny for that fight. Then Shook, again, same principle as Arena. He brings you attack penalty 2, and he also brings some ultimate recharge, you know, pushes back the boss's ultimate. That can be interesting. And this one's not going to take effect against the Errich boss because he does not put buffs up. So Shook would just be in there for some more attack penalty. Then Voltug is another one that seems to be interesting because he brings you triple hit on the ultimate with attack penalty, but it's only attack penalty 1, and accuracy penalty, which does not really, is not helpful, but he could be good as a tank, I suppose, in front. He also gives himself defense up, and if I saw correctly, all of his damage is defense based. So he could be interesting, but his defense is pretty low for being a defense based damage dealer. You know, it's like, you know, you kind of want more. But this one could be really helpful because if you have some buffs in the team, he could be really good to tank the hits up. So as an option, I guess not the worst, but not the best, but not the worst. You know, small version attack penalty can be helpful if you have nothing else. Then one of the ones that I completely love, and he's amazing, and that's Nimbus. The reason why I love him is because this ultimate. Basically, he locks onto 2 seconds for a target, and then every 0.5 seconds he keeps dealing damage, but it can go up to 6 seconds if you have big attack speed on him. I have him like under 1 second, and the awesome thing about this one, and this is something that somebody in my comments pointed out, when he casts his ultimate, he does the ultimate damage like those rockets, but at the same time he does basic attacks. So again, in order as an enabler for somebody like Shalter and Evelios, he will be amazing, and he can dish out some crazy damage himself, especially with the passive. If you have some buffers, if he gets buffs, he gets attack speed up. So Nimbus is one of the best. Also, the battle skill can hit pretty hard. I really love Nimbus. I use him in most of my Dauntless stuff, and he's definitely one worth talking about. Then we have Naguk, but he's a bit of a weird one. I'm not sure he's really worth it. He does this thing with a force field, then he keeps dealing damage with this one every second. I'm not sure if these ones count as basic hits or not. And if I knew this, I would say then yeah, he would be amazing to, you know, enable some, to be good enabler for the other Dauntless ones I talked about. But, you know, if anybody knows, leave it in the comments below. Does Naguk's passive, you know, that force field count as damage, as a basic attack or not? I was really curious about that. Then Thurnos is another one that I do not have, but if you look at his kit, it's like, okay, he jumps a target, deals attack, and then for the next 10 seconds, when an ally launches a basic attack against the same enemy, there's a 50% chance he deals additional damage. Again, if this one counts as a basic attack, it would help. I wish they would specify if it counts or not, because otherwise, I don't think he's going to be as good. He could do some decent damage, but you prefer to have, you prefer to have them to count as basic attacks. Then on the battle skill, gives himself attack up, but only if he hits 3 targets, so not the best. And then passive, he gains extra 20% attack speed. This is what might make him amazing for every Dauntless ally on the team. So if you have 3, he has 60% extra attack speed, which means he's gonna attack a lot. And then the battle skill, again, I wish this was like lower in all battles. It's only dungeons, so not the best, but not the worst. Yola, definitely need to give a shout out for Yola, and the reason why she would be amazing in teams is she brings attack penalty, which is pretty reliable because it's 100%, and she hits 3 times, and then she also brings an ally attack in all battles by 24%. So my Lolita, my favorite epic in the game, definitely a good DPS, but you know, it's more like DPS support in the team. Then the best epic when it comes to Dauntless heroes is Shelter, and the reason why is because of this ultimate. Enhances all allies with lightning force, granting them Blessing of Thunder for 15 seconds, complete recharge time at 20. So if you build him with enough skill haste, you're gonna have this almost all the time. And when launching basic attacks, this is why I kept saying about basic attacks. When launching basic attacks, all allies with Thunder Blessing have a 35% chance when scrolled of summoning a lightning strike on the enemy, dealing 95% attack derivative damage. Dauntless heroes have double the chance. So basically, Dauntless heroes have a 70% chance to keep proccing this damage, and that means Shelter's gonna do some insane damage. You wanna build him with a ton of enlightenment, a ton of attack, and just ignore crit rate and crit damage, give him the Violink, and you're gonna be amazed of how much damage he does. Then on the battle skill, he also puts a shield that does more damage, and the passive doesn't really work because this one does like, you know, lightning bounce, which because it's only 1 target for these ones, it's not gonna be as good. Now we talk about Shawgirl. He's really amazing in arena in general because he brings you the you know, he's kind of like an assassin, but he's still good for Dauntless teams as a Dauntless DPS because he does 5 hits on the ultimate, and then the most important thing that I kept mentioning, this skill is counted as a basic attack, okay? So Shawgirl can be amazing with that. Then on the battle skill, he deals, you know, just a single target hit on the battle skill, but then the passive, basic attacks have a 45% chance to attack twice. And with that low attack interval that he starts with, he can be amazing. And he also brings an attack speed in all battles by 24%. So Shawgirl, definitely one of those amazing DPS. Now let's move over to the legendaries. Now first one is Sutha, the legendary that you can actually get from the Horn. You know, if you're lucky. She's amazing because kind of like Shawgirl, she has 6 hitter on the ultimate, 5 hitter. The attacks again count as basic attacks, and it also gives 20% extra chance to crit, which means you already have 10 in there. This means you'll need to build her with a total of 70% crit rate. She can dish out some crazy damage in there and also enable people like Shelter and Evelios, like I said, because of the fact that they count as a basic attack, like I mentioned. Then on the battle skill, double hit slash at the enemy. Again, they count as basic attack and more chance to trigger crits. Awesome. And then the passive, wait, yeah, there's more. When she triggers a crit against the target, the Phantom will be generated. The Phantom launches a follow-up attack dealing 100% attack. Follow-up attack is counted as a basic attack. So again, she's gonna put up so many hits in there that she's gonna do some amazing damage herself, but the damage she's gonna make ramp up from Shelter or Evelios is just gonna be huge. And this one's not gonna help, unfortunately, because it's in dungeons, but it's a massive, massive aura for dungeons. Now, the next one's gonna be Tharival, one of the ones that looks amazing. Like, I really wish I pulled him, that he would be amazing. He has a really awesome ultimate. He switches to a shooting stance and his attack increases by 15% for the next 12 seconds. And each basic attack has a 30% chance of triggering multi-shot, firing 3 arrows. Imagine how that works again with proccing other people. This chance is boosted at a rate equal to 30% of the hero's critical rate. So obviously you're gonna give him 100%, he's gonna do some crazy stuff. If multi-shot fails to trigger, the arrow fired will deal this amount of damage. So I think his hits actually count as basic attacks because it basically just enhances his basic attack. So it's not like he does hits with the ultimate, it just he enhances it and then does basic attacks. So he would be amazing for stuff like that. On the battle skill, he just has like a 1 hit, it ignores immortality, which doesn't really matter. Then battle skill, dealing direct damage to the same hero, to the same enemy target, grants the hero 1 stack of attack speed up for 5 seconds, up to 15 stacks. Stacks are lost when switching targets. So think about how much attack speed he's gonna have. He's gonna basically attack 1,000,000 times, and he would be an amazing one. Like, I think from the ones that I have here, I think Tharival is my most wanted one. Then the next one's gonna be Nastjenka, or like the real T-Dub calls her Nasty Jenica. She's a really interesting one because first, attack in all battles aura, which is amazing. Then the ultimate, she deals damage to enemies in range when allies launch basic attacks at the enemy within the next 10 seconds. So again, see, basic attacks enabling each other. This is what Dauntless are all about. The hero has a 40% chance to shoot feathers at the enemy as a follow-up attack, dealing 105 lightning damage. Dauntless heroes have a double chance of triggering this effect, and follow-up attack is counted as basic attack. So this is crazy. This goes up to, what's this, 40% chance of shooting, 50%, then if they're Dauntless, basically 100%. So she's another good one that can be enabled when this ultimate is up, and she can do some crazy damage. Then battle skill, she flashes, I think this one happens straight up at the beginning, to the target, dealing damage 3 times. This skill is counted as basic attack. Again, crazy basic attack. And is guaranteed to be cast as the battle starts. So like I said, battle starts, she jumps straight in, boom, 3 hits. And then the passive, for every 3 seconds the hero survives, gains 1 stack of Black Stork's feather permanently that cannot be dispelled, up to 10 stacks. Every 10% of the hero's extra attack speed will be converted into 1.5% extra crit rate. So it's, you know, builder with a ton of attack speed, and you're going to guarantee yourself at least 15% extra crit rate. And Nastjenka would be another one of those crazy ones. Then there's 3 more. Like, it seems like the legendary, most of them are DPS. The next one's Garrett. I've not played with him, but he seems really interesting with the way he does his damage, because again, 5 hits, all of these count as basic attack, and then basic attacks will deal additional damage when under brutal thrust, which is going to be his ultimate. For every 1% attack speed obtained, he will additionally, damage will be increased by 0.25%. Battle skill, he deals 3 hits. Again, lots of hits, lots of damage. He's a bit of a quirky one because he keeps consuming HP, so you definitely need a healer alongside him. But he still has all the hits counting as basic attacks. Crit damage in all battles aura, that can be really good. And then this passive increases attack when taking damage. The increased volume equals to 10% of the damage taken, up to 200% of the hero's inherent attack value. So Garrett again can be really awesome. Then Grishnar is more of a defensive one, so you could use him, I guess, as a tank in there to do some defense damage, bring you the attack penalty. That can be useful. Then he can also protect if you have another melee unit in there with a battle skill. That can be really helpful. And, you know, also giving shield, like all the good stuff. The skill is guaranteed to be cast as the battle starts, so straight up gonna protect somebody. And then the passive, he gains 20% damage reduction. When taking damage, there is a 50% chance of dealing derivative damage to the damage source. So he can bring out some damage and be tanky. So Grishnar is definitely worth worth investing into as somebody in your team. And then arguably the best one in the game when it comes to Dauntless, that's Evos. And basically it's not about his ultimate, because the damage is meh, even though he ignores 100% of the target's defense. But the battle skill, he brings attack speed up to all Dauntless, I cannot speak, I'm sorry. He brings attack speed up to all Dauntless allies for 5 seconds. So if you have some skill haste, he's going to do it pretty often. But what Evos is all about, and what maybe some people didn't know or don't realize, myself included, up until I tested and heard some other people mention, it's all about his passive, okay? When an ally launches a basic attack, the hero has a, 20% chance of launching a follow-up attack, dealing 75%, this one goes to 90%, derivative lightning damage. Dauntless heroes have a double chance to trigger this effect. So again, basic attacks. Every time your Dauntless heroes do basic attack, he's just gonna keep doing this passive over and over and over and over again. Give him the Vile Ink and you're gonna see some insane damage from Evos. And kind of the same principle as Shelter. Don't really care about his crit or crit damage. All you care about is a ton of enlightenment and a ton of attack, and you're gonna see some massive numbers dished out from Evos. So yeah, this is it. These are all the lightning heroes that you should use, especially like, Dauntless heroes for the Chaos Shadows or the Contented Challenge, whichever you are, that you should invest in. And hopefully this is gonna give you guys some ideas of who you should build, who you should invest in to make your damage be as high as possible. But anyway, this is gonna be it for this video today, guys. Thank you all for watching. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.